We are here on an initial permanency hearing. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the mother. Ms. Campbell, who is with us, and Ms. Grant is with us representing the father, Mr. Veldhuis, that I show is incarcerated. Ms. Grant, were you expecting your client?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stephanie, who do you work for?
St. Francis Ministries.
And what do you do for them?
I am a permanency
And
specialist.
did you prepare a court report for this case and file it on March 13th of 2024?
Yes.
Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of that court report.
All right. So noted, and I have read the report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stephanie, can we get a few details on how Miranda's placement with her mother is going?
It's going very well. Mandy got her own place. So it's just her and Miranda now. I viewed the home. There's no safety concerns. It was cute. Miranda's doing okay in school. She's good on her grades. Other than some, kids being kids, she's doing very well.
Okay. And in regards to the mom, Mandy Kimball, is she providing for all of the child's daily needs and necessities?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that include food, shelter, and taking her to her medical appointments?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, there's prior court orders, correct, that there's to be no contact between the child, Miranda, and her father, David. Is that correct?
Yes, and we had to create like our own safety thing against Jean Marie, just for safety there.
And for the record, who is Jean Marie and how is she related to the case?
Jean Marie was with David Veldhuis. I don't know if they were officially married or legally married, but they were a couple.
Okay, so what prompted the safety plan regarding Jean Marie?
She showed up at Mandy's father's house where Mandy and Miranda were staying prior to her moving. Was doing laundry. Her dad had given Jean Marie a key and said he was going to rent out a back bedroom to her.
Okay, is that what prompted Mandy Kimball's move from the home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is the safety plan exactly regarding Jean Marie?
It was before she had moved, but it was just that if she had showed up or anything, that she would just take Miranda somewhere.
That Mandy
out of the home. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, let me re-ask that for clarification. So part of the safety plan was that if Jean Marie showed up at the home where Miranda was, that Miranda's mom would take Miranda from the premises, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
How is Mandy progressing on her services?
She's completed everything that we've asked.
Okay, and does she continue to drug screen negative?
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as David Veldhuis, how is he progressing on his services?
He's not done any services and currently incarcerated.
Okay, when you say he's incarcerated, is he currently in county jail on pending charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this the second arrest that you are aware of since the last hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the first arrest for? And if you don't recall, you can say you don't recall.
Yes, it was, Jean Marie had called because he was trying to take her car and the cop showed up and he was backing into traffic. So I don't remember the exact name, like what the exact title of the charge was, but it was like a couple of traffic tickets, I know.
And the next arrest, when did that occur to your knowledge?
About 2 months ago.
And do you recall what he's charged with currently?
I know one was impeding breath, and I think it was family violence.
And is Jean Marie the victim in those charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know which county jail he's currently located in?
Yes, ma'am. Randall County.
Okay. Has he drug screened during the case at all for you?
No, ma'am. Up until him getting arrested, I had no contact with him. He would not speak to me at all. I couldn't locate him.
And since you've contacted him, have you met with him?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
2.
And what has he said in those conversations regarding the case?
A lot of it didn't make sense. He talked about suing me, and that he didn't know what was going on. He said he went to the school to get Miranda, found out she had been taken, and yeah, a lot of what he said wasn't really making sense. Other than that, that's like the gist of what I got from him.
And prior to his arrest, was the department concerned with methamphetamine use for him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are we asking for any drug screens to be ordered today?
No, ma'am.
And when you were having those conversations with Mr. Veldhuis, did you discuss working services with him?
I tried. Yes, ma'am.
And regarding Miranda, is she up to date on her medical and dental exams?
Yes.
And is she continuing in her individual therapy?
Yes.
And is she passing in school?
Yes, ma'am.
And she is not on any psychotropic medication. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are we asking the court to go ahead and set the final hearing in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be a little bit earlier than usual. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Corbett, I know this sounds crazy, but I have to ask these questions. Would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of Miranda to be returned to her father?
Yes, sir.
Would it be contrary to Miranda's welfare to be returned to her father?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kincaid, questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. So Mandy has stayed in contact with the department, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's completed all services the department has asked of her.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are there any other, is there anything else Mandy needs to do for the department?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Grant?
Ma'am, does the no contact order extend only to the child, or does it extend also to between the father and the mother?
I believe it was just the child. I'm not 100% on that order.
Thank you.
I was
Pass the
putting
witness. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it was put in before I had received this case, but I believe it was just the father and child.
Okay, thank you. Pass the witness, Judge.
All right, so I don't forget to ask, Ms. Kimball, I can amend that order. Would you like it to say no contact between Mr. Veldhuis and Miranda or you?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Ingram, any questions?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Gutierrez, anything further from the department?
I'm sorry. We rest, Your Honor. I do have a few requests.
Okay.
We request for a finding of reasonable efforts on behalf of the department to reunify the family, including the child being placed at home, locating and meeting with the father, as well as trying to connect him with services.
Okay. All right. Mr. Ingram, recommendations. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Ms. Kincaid, did you have any witnesses?
I don't, Your Honor. We rest.
Thanks. Ms. Grant, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, recommendations.
Continue partner as temporary managing conservator, continue placement with mom, set the final. Miranda's doing well with her mother.
Okay. All right, then. All right. I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Miranda's current placement. I will order there be no contact between Mr. Veldhuis and Ms. Kimball or Miranda. I will set the final for July 15th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before July 15th to see exactly what time we'll have that. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Shadbolt, the mother, is not with us, nor is her attorney, Mr. Jackson. And the alleged father, Mr. Fee, Phea, is also not with us. I have Brandy's for the next case. I have Michelle Silva in the waiting room.
She's my worker, Judge.
Okay, I'll watch the waiting room for either of the parents or Mr. Jackson's, but we'll go ahead and proceed. We've got a full day today. So Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Michelle
And
Silva.
are they currently placed in the Amarillo area?
Yes,
And how are they doing in that placement?
they are doing really well. Both kids are getting healthy and doing great.
Okay. And based on your court report, it looks like both of them are hitting their developmental milestones. Is that right?
Yes,
And are they in daycare? Or are they staying at home?
they're in daycare.
And do they seem to be acclimating well to that?
Yes.
And it appears they're on medication, but most of that is for allergies. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, regarding the mother, did you create a service plan for her?
Yes.
And briefly, there were reasons for removal were drug use by the mother, and she was having some domestic violence issues. Is that correct?
Yes.
And does your service plan address those reasons for removal?
Yes.
And specifically, can you give a couple of services that will help the mother with that?
I did, I did parenting classes, OZAR assessment for drug use. And Jennings counseling service, she had rational behavior, and then also domestic violence
Support group?
support group.
All right, great. So it appears that the individual counseling, rational behavior, and support group will help with the domestic violence issues. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, in regards to the alleged father, have you had any contact with him?
No.
Have you gotten any information from Ms. Shadbolt about how she keeps in contact, if at all?
She said that she contacts him sometimes through Facebook, but not very much. It's whenever he calls her.
Okay. And based on information from the removal and from Ms. Shadbolt, were you able to create a service plan for him if he starts engaging with the department?
Yes.
And are those issues domestic violence and potential drug use?
Yes.
And have you asked for him to complete the Batter's Intervention and Prevention Program if he becomes engaged and is the father of the children?
Yes.
And in regards to is he also asked to complete rational behavior and anger management?
Yes.
Now, since he's unknown to us, we do not know his drug history. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so basically, we would ask them to complete an OSAR to see if any services would be appropriate.
Yes.
Now, in regards to the mother, have you been able to go over the service plan with her?
Yes.
Has she signed the service plan?
Yes.
And does she seem to understand the services being requested of her?
Yes.
Did she have any questions for you regarding those services?
No.
Now, she is currently on probation, is that correct?
Yes.
And she does have some current pending charges, is that right?
Yes.
Is she incarcerated at this time, or is she still out?
I'm not sure. I tried texting her this morning and she didn't respond.
Okay. When is the last time you had contact with her?
She texted me over the weekend.
Okay. So you've had recent contact with her, is that fair?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Are we asking for any drug screens?
No.
Okay. Is the mom complying with drug screens for the department?
Yes.
And are we just asking that the service plans be made in order of the court?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right. Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
Sorry, Judge. I did have a few additional questions. Is Ms. Shadbolt getting some visitation?
Yes.
And how are those visitations going?
They're doing well. She was she had 1 hour and then we gave her an extra hour. So she's doing 2 hours every week and they're doing great.
Okay. And that's basically due to the age of the children, 1 and 2. Is that right?
Yes.
And regarding Ms. Shadbolt, are we also, does she have a family support worker?
Yes.
And that family support worker will be an additional person to help her work services. Is that right?
Yes.
And so
she also has a parent support worker.
Okay. Thank you. I always forget there's 2 separate people, family and parent. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so are those attempts to help reunify the family?
Yes.
Now I'll pass the witness. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. Silva, you mentioned that the original removal was due to drug use and also some domestic violence. Was the domestic violence with this Mr. Fee, the alleged father?
Yes.
Okay, and that's why you've asked for BIP for him?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of the children to be returned to either the mother or the alleged father today?
Yes.
Would it be contrary to the children's welfare to be returned to the mother or the alleged father today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Ingram, anything further other than your recommendation?
No, sir, just continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue placement. Kids are doing well in placement.
Okay. All right. Just for the record, we are about to conclude the hearing and neither Ms. Shadbolt, Mr. Fee, or Mr. Jackson are in the waiting room. So, okay, I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the current placement. I'll order the services for Ms. Shadbolt and Mr. Fee as contained in their service plans. All right, we will have the initial permanency hearing in this case on July 29th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance. Permanency hearing of July 29th. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Ms. Naranjo is with us representing the father, Mr. Flores, who I show is incarcerated in the Randall County Jail. And Mr. Michelson is with us representing Ms. Oyerbides, who is also with us. I have, that's all the parties. I have Cayenne Williams in the waiting room.
She's my worker, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
For the record. Now, how is the child doing in his current placement?
He's doing really well.
And he's placed with a grandparent, is that correct?
Yes. Paternal grandmother.
And is she able to take care of all of his needs?
Yes.
And is he in daycare?
Yes.
And is he doing well in daycare?
Yes.
Is he, I guess, reaching all of his milestones that he should be?
Yes.
And it does appear that he is in ECI as well. Is that correct?
Yes. They go to the daycare once a week.
And what are they working on with him?
Some occupational therapy and some behavioral therapy right now.
And let's see, and he's not on any medication, is that right?
Correct.
Now, in regards to the mother and the child, are they having visitation?
Yes.
And how is that visitation going?
It goes well.
And how often do they have that?
It's scheduled for once a week. But with Brandy's work schedule and she's been sick and Jackson's been sick in this season, so it's been about every other week right now. But it is
Okay.
scheduled for once a week.
Okay, and does she get makeup visits if the child's sick?
Yes.
Now, regarding the mother, it does appear that she did not submit to a hair follicle in February. Are we requesting that judge order a hair follicle screen today?
Yes, please.
And are we asking for a UA as well?
Yes.
Now, it does look like she completed her OSAR evaluations, and at the time of your report, it says recommendations are pending. Have we received those recommendations yet?
I did receive them on Friday. They just recommended her back to whatever St. Francis needs her to do, and potentially AA and NA classes as needed.
Okay. And are you going to staff with your supervisor and talk to Brandy about what potential drug intervention would be best for her?
Yes.
And generally, the department likes for them to go to the Padre program. Is that correct?
Yes, if recommended.
Okay. Now, in regards to domestic violence support group, is she still continuing with those?
Yes.
And it does appear that she needs to, has she changed counselors?
No. She's still with Corby Grimes with Jennings Counseling.
Okay. Can you check in with, did you check in recently with them about Mr. Grimes?
I've talked to Mr. Grimes, I believe 2 weeks ago, and he said the last time he saw Brandy was in December. But they've worked on rescheduling and either she has to cancel or he has to cancel. So I don't think she's seen him again since then.
And
She's been in contact with him.
okay, great. And it does appear that she still needs to complete the RBT classes. Is that right?
Yes, I think she has it scheduled for April 11th.
And it does appear that she is doing her parenting classes, just not completed. Is that right?
Yes, I believe I talked to her yesterday or this morning, and I think she has about 2 classes left.
Okay. And so really we just need her to do that hair follicle screen just to confirm that at least her, well, I guess she had a negative one in November. So we just want to make sure that she's consistent with that.
Yes.
Now, regarding the father,
Is he still incarcerated at this time?
Yes, and I believe I put on the court report that he is an ISF in Henderson, Texas, but I found out on Friday that he's at a facility in Pampa.
Okay, and is it still the intermediate sanctioned facility?
Yes, from what I understand.
Okay, and do you know if it's behavioral one or drug?
Drug.
Now, in regards to Jonathan, he has agreed to work services once he is done with ISF. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, let's see. And he's incarcerated, so we're not asking for any drug screens. Is that right?
Correct.
When was the last time you had communication with the mother?
This morning.
And has she been able to maintain communication with you, and that's going well?
Yes, I haven't seen her in person since the end of January, but she does call me a couple times a week, and she texts me with updates on work and things like that.
And I don't believe, how is her residence?
She is currently looking to move out of her current home, and she's looking to move to Hereford, Texas, so that once hopefully Jackson's reunified with her, she can keep him in the same daycare and on the same schedule that he's on since he's doing so well.
Okay, great. And so she just is consistently still working on trying to find stable housing.
Yes.
All right. Do you think it would be contrary for the child's welfare to be returned to the mother today?
Yes.
And has the department been facilitating visitation and working with her on her service plan to help reunify her with the child?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. Williams, would the mother's drug testing be at Care Express?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Michael, some questions?
Just briefly, Ms. Williams, Brandy just indicated to me that she's scheduled for treatment at Centacor. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, and is she scheduled to go to treatment today?
Yes, that's what she told me.
Okay, and she has transportation to get there?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know what time she's checking in?
She said she was going to ask to check in at 3 p.m.
Okay, all right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, is that outpatient or inpatient?
I believe it's inpatient.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll be sure that we give her time to get her drug test before she checks in. Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Naranjo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Williams, did Mr. Flores give a time of when he anticipates getting out of the ISF facility?
He said it was either a 60 to 90-day program, depending on his progress, is what he was told.
Okay, I'll pass witness.
Okay, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
Okay. Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Michelson, did you have witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Naranjo?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations.
Continue Department of Temporary Managing Conservator, continue placement with the grandmother. Child is doing well with grandmother.
Okay. All right, then. I will continue Department as Temporary Managing Conservator, continue Jackson's current placement. I'll order the mother to both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today. And let's go ahead. Ms. Williams, let's be sure and get the 2054 over there, because if she's got a 3 o'clock check-in, she may need to go straight after this hearing. So,
Yes, sir.
okay. All right. All right. We will have our next hearing on July 15th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of July 15th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. All right. We'll stand in recess. Ms. Obermeyer, good luck on your treatment program. And for those of you involved, I'll be back at 11.
Judge, I'm sorry. I had the wrong Zoom ID. I completely missed it. And I sent that ID to my client.
Okay, we're getting, Haley said you thought she might be the Zoom user. So we're going to see if that's your client. And then I'm going to put you and Courtney in a breakout. Do you want your client in there with you or not?
Not yet, Judge. I just need to speak to Courtney, and I'll make it quick. I'm trying not to get you behind. Thank you.
No, we don't have another one until 11 o'clock. So you can stay in the breakout room as long as you need to.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Joe, just so you'll know, all we did in that case is continue the department, continue placement, and ordered the services and the service plans for your client and the alleged father. That's all we did.
Judge, you didn't, no drug tests were ordered?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm right.
You're correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this, Haley.
Yay, good job, Judge.
So
It's only
proud
been,
of
what, 4
you.
years?
Yeah.
So proud of you.
Be careful, Courtney. I do know how to remove you real quick.
I know, right? But then you would be without an attorney.
Then I could go home.
It's true. Okay, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, we're here on a final hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Onho is with us representing the mother, Ms. Morphus, who is with us. And Mr. Michelson is with us representing the father, Mr. Morphus, who is with us. We're here on a final hearing. I have Erin Tyndall in the waiting room.
She's my worker judge. And I would just ask the court while we're waiting to take judicial notice of the relinquishments that are on file.
Okay, I read the report. It was a little confusing to me as far as Mr. Morphus, but he has signed one that's on file also.
That's correct, Judge, and I can get you the dates they were filed in just 1 second.
That's okay. I couldn't tell from when the report was filed. So, okay, Ms. Tyndall is now with us. So, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Erin Tyndall. And where is Rose currently placed?
Rose is currently placed down in the Houston area at A Promising Journey.
And how is she doing in that placement?
She's still struggling a bit, but we have made some progress with her over spring break and then into this new week since spring break, but she is still struggling in placement.
Okay. And is she on psychotropic medications?
Yes, she is.
And are those being monitored every 30 days?
Yes, those are.
And she is old enough to give an opinion. Has she given you an opinion on her medication?
Yes, she has. I ask her each time I speak with her how she feels her medication is doing. She states that it's okay or that she's just sleepy and that she will talk with her doctor psychiatrist each time that she meets with them to address any issues and side effects.
Okay, great. And regarding the parents, have they been having contact with Rose?
They have had conversations, meetings and stuff like that with Rose virtually and then over the phone. I think here lately it's been kind of hit or miss just with the circumstances of things.
Okay. And just for a recap, Rose was on probation or is on probation for, Judge, can we go off YouTube? I'm sorry.
Modified final order. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. I have also, let in Ms. Rios. I don't know. I guess I don't know if Mr. Rios is there too, but I'm seeing somebody wave. So, okay.
I think that's Ms. Rios. Okay. And is that Aubrey?
Good morning.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I went ahead and let her in because I've read the report. I know what we're here to do today. So I have Nicole Brooks in the waiting room.
She's my worker, Judge.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. I believe we're all here. So Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Nicole Brooks. And where is she currently placed?
In a fictive Kim home in Amarillo.
And are those with the Rioses?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is she doing in that placement?
She's doing really good. We've seen a lot of improvement since she was placed there in June. So
great. And have the Rioses indicated to you that they would like to make a long-term home for Aubrey and they would like to become permanent managing conservator of the child?
Yes, they have.
And do you believe that this is in the child's best interest?
I do.
And why do you believe that?
She's doing really good there. She feels like she's finally in a family where she's accepted and she stated she loves it there. They're meeting all of her needs and making sure she's taken care of. And when time arises for any situation, they're getting her the help she needs.
Wonderful. And how is she doing in school?
She's doing good.
And is she up to date on all of her medical and dental?
Yes. I know on her medication review, I'd put in there she had an appointment coming up. They did go as of the 14th and she actually got taken off all her medications because she's doing really well.
That's wonderful. That's great. And did the department have anything else they would like to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Ingram, any questions?
No questions.
All right, then. Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor. We're just asking that the Rioses are named permanent managing conservator and the department is dismissed out of the case. I'm super excited for Aubrey. This is one of my first cases I had, and so I'm very happy for her.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Ms. Rios, is there anything you want to add? I let you in because I knew what we were doing today. Is there anything you want to add today?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you and your husband for what you're doing. It's nice to see a case turn out like this one has. So.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your first name, but from what I've heard today, the evidence I've heard today, I do find that it's in the best interest of Aubrey that Donna Sienna and Raymond Rios be named
Yes.
sole joint managing conservators. I will dismiss the department and all other court-appointed relationships after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. All right, this was a short and sweet one. I like that when they go like this. So,
Yes.
okay.
Hey, Aubrey.
Hi.
Oh, is Aubrey with you, Aaron?
No, she's sitting with Donna.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
she was her first worker. Erin was
I
her first
was.
worker.
The very beginning.
I didn't know Aubrey was with us. I had to check her in as attending too. So, congratulations, Aubrey.
We're all happy for you, Aubrey.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure that all of you will be happy to hear that there will be no further final hearing set, so you don't have to see me again. So we will stand in recess till 11:45, and then I'll call a Randall County adversary. Y'all have a good week, and congratulations to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here
You
on
too.
an adversary hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. And I have a Sheila Parrish in the, I've let that person in. I showed the mother's name as Sheila Madron. Is this the same person?
Yeah, she has an AKA.
Okay. Okay. I don't have anyone in the waiting room. So are we ready to proceed, Ms. Wiggins?
We are, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Parrish, this is Judge Graham. If you'd unmute. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
All right, Ms. Parrish, I need to admonish you that you have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, you have the right to ask that the court consider whether or not you're entitled to a court-appointed attorney at no cost to you. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to ask for an attorney today?
I filed that paperwork that Ashley had given me and I turned it into the court on Western.
Okay.
I haven't received anything, Judge.
Who did you give it to, Ms. Parrish?
It was I do believe the justice of the peace, but I'm not really sure.
Oh.
I had my 3-year-old grandson with me, so it was a little crazy.
Okay, it went to the wrong place. Probably when you came through security, they didn't know what you were here for, and I'm surprised whoever took it didn't forward it to my office. It's right across the hall. So, are you currently working?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that if you're not currently working at this time, you're going to be entitled to a court-appointed attorney because you're presumed to be indigent. So, that having been said, since you had turned in your paperwork, I need to also advise you that since you have asked for an attorney, and I haven't been able to see that paperwork yet, you have the right to ask that I postpone or continue this case until I've had time to look at that paperwork. And if you're entitled to an attorney, you've had time to visit with that attorney. Do you want to ask for me to postpone this hearing today and reset it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Then I will, based on what Ms. Parrish has told me, I will grant her motion for a continuance, and I will reset this adversary hearing to April 1st, 2024. Ms. Parrish, if we can't find that here somewhere, we will get with St. Francis or the department, and they may have to have you fill that out again, but you will be entitled to an attorney. I want to just kind of speed this up. April 1st is not very far away. Haley, let's go ahead and tell her who she'll be assigned as her attorney.
Okay, give me just a second. It is going to be Aaron Molinax.
Okay. If you'll spell that for Ms. Parrish, do you have something to write on?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Okay. And the hearing on April 1st, when we reconvene this adversary hearing, it will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing. So everybody can go on the court's online docket, and Ms. Parrish, you can go on my docket, or you can just contact St. Francis for the department. They'll tell you exactly what time on April 1st we're going to have that hearing. It'll be just like today's hearing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then we will stand in recess until April 1st, at which time we'll reconvene to hold the adversary hearing. We're here on an adversary hearing that was reset. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us for the child. Ms. Molinax is with us representing the mother, Ms. Parrish, who also known as Hargesheimer. She is with us. The father, Donald Madron, is not with us, and he's not in the waiting room. I don't have anyone in the waiting room. So my understanding was maybe Alexis had decided at the last minute she wanted to sit in on the hearing, so I will watch the waiting room to see if she does come in. So, okay, Ms. Wiggins, I guess we're ready to proceed.
Thank you, Judge.
Could I have like 2 minutes with my client? I think that we may be agreed on this case. I told Courtney last week, but I want to confirm.
Sure. Okay. I'll open a breakout room for you. Ms. Parrish, you may be asked to join this breakout room, or it may just put you in there automatically.
We're back, Judge.
Okay, where do we stand?
My client's agreeable for the department to be named temporary managing conservator. My understanding is the child's in an RTC, and that that's kind of the whole purpose of the department being named TMC, and she's okay with that.
Okay. All right. Ms. Wiggins, are you in agreement?
Yes, Judge, and I believe we did file where it's joint managing conservator with mom, and then we kept dad as possessory, is I believe
Okay.
how we pled the case.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever. She's agreeable to whatever, as long as the child can get some help with the placement.
Okay.
Yes, and I do believe Ashley Delgado should be in the waiting room. I know she said the child, she's not yet. Okay, I did
Yeah.
call her. She thought it was 11:45 for some reason.
Okay.
So anyway, the child was going to log on as well. And so we are agreeable to that. I think the child is in an RTC and seems to be doing as well as can be expected. I'm sorry, at this time.
Okay. Where's the RTC located?
It's a great question.
Houston.
Houston. Okay, that's all I
Thank
needed.
you, Harry.
All right, then, Mr. Ingham, are you in agreement?
I am, Judge. The only thing I would add is there had been some communication, I think, about the possibility of a home study being done on an uncle that lives in Amarillo. I do not have any specific information about him or his address or anything, but that's something that the child did ask us to look into.
Okay. If you locate the name, then you can just submit an order to me and I'll go ahead and sign that.
I believe Andy had emailed with the caseworker, and my understanding was the caseworker was supposed to talk to Alexis about that. So I don't know if she had an opportunity to do that or not.
Okay. Well, if anybody wants the home study, they can just get me an order. I usually just grant them if whoever requests them. So, you know, even if it's Alexis that wants the home study done on the uncle, just get me an order with the name, so forth, and I'll be happy to sign it. So, okay, then I will approve that agreement. I will name the department and Ms. Parrish, joint managing conservators. I'll name Mr. Madron a possessory conservator. I will continue Alexis' current placement. We'll have the status hearing in this case on April 29th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of April 29th to see exactly what time that hearing will take. We're here on a status hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingham's with us representing the child. Ms. Molnax is with us representing the mother, Ms. Parrish, who is also with us. Mr. Madron, the father, is, as far as I can tell, is not in the waiting room. Then, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Ms. Martinez. Okay, thank you, Judge. Ms. Martinez, how are you currently employed?
I'm the permanency supervisor at St. Francis.
Okay. And where is the child currently placed?
She is placed in an RTC in the Houston area.
And how is she doing in that placement?
Well, so she's, as of right now, she's doing good, but she's had a few incidents of going AWOL, and just kind of being around the wrong crowds. But since the last time that she was recovered, we have not had any other incidents.
Okay. And in this case, this was a case where we're joint managing for the parent or with the parents. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they had some behavioral issues with Alexis. And so therefore, they asked for CPS to place her in an RTC or some facility to help her.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's fair to say since then, she still had some behavioral issues.
That's correct.
And during the case, excuse me. Okay. Sorry. During the beginning of the case, who was the assigned worker on this case?
Valerie Sledge.
And has she worked with the parents in creating service plans for them?
Yes, ma'am.
And as the supervisor, have you approved those service plans?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you aware if Ms. Sledge has been able to go over that service plan with the mother, Sheila Parrish?
Yes, ma'am.
And has Ms. Parrish signed that plan?
Yes.
And And does it seem like Ms. Parrish understands what is being requested of her?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are those services that we're asking?
So for Miss Parrish, of course, comply housing, and employment, and then Miss Ledge asked her to complete individual counseling, actively participate and complete parenting classes. And then we would like for them to participate in some family counseling later on, you know, just to kind of mend that relationship once we get closer to sending Alexis home.
Now, do you believe that those services asked of Ms. Parrish will help, I guess, strengthen her ability to be a good parent for Alexis and deal with her behavioral issues once she's returned to the home?
Yes, ma'am, but I think it really kind of depends on Alexis if she's open to the help.
Sure. But do you believe it would be helpful for Ms. Parrish to also do some counseling to help her deal with the issues in the home and everything that's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in regards to the father in this case, Mr. Dodds, I believe is what he goes by now, has Ms. Sledge been able to go over his service plan with him?
No, ma'am.
Has he maintained contact with the department since the removal?
Not since it's been transferred to Miss Sledge.
And so based on that, she has not been able to go over that plan or even talk to him about the plan. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in what services are we requesting from the father?
So for him, of course, you know, complying with stable housing, employment, and then she did ask for a psychological individual counseling and to participate in parenting classes.
Okay. And the psychological evaluation is based off some statements that were made by the child regarding the father's mental health. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so therefore, we just want an independent evaluator to see, either confirm or deny if he has any issues that he needs to address.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe that these service plans are reasonably tailored to address the issues in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And are we asking the judge to make them an order of the court?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Molinax?
Ms. Martinez, do you know when Ms. Sledge went over the service plan with my client, Ms. Parrish?
I don't know. I don't have an exact date.
Do you know if a copy of that service plan has been provided to Ms. Parrish?
As far as I know, yes.
Do you know if they have been filed?
I believe they were at the beginning of the month, but I'm not for sure. I can follow up.
If those haven't been filed, can you make sure those get filed so that we get copies of them?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that the child is in an RTC currently, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your understanding, if you know, that there was a plan to have a home study done on an uncle?
Yes.
And is it, if you know, is it your understanding that after speaking to the uncle, the child ran away from placement?
That's correct.
And so is it still the intent of the department to look at this uncle as placement or no?
No, ma'am.
And so do you know, have you been given any other options for placement for the child?
No, ma'am, we have not.
And so at this point, would you agree with me that the plan is to continue her in that RTC until and unless something else comes up?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said she's doing well right now. When is the last time she absconded? If you know.
I don't know. Our system is down, so I'm not able to look at the temporary absence.
That's okay. It's been a couple times at least. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any steps that can be taken to make sure that she doesn't abscond?
Well, they do have like a safety plan in place and trying to have more supervision on her, in hopes that it will keep her in placement.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
Ms. Wiggins, anything further from Ms. Martinez?
No, Your Honor, and we will get those filed and given over to Ms. Mullinex.
Okay. Anything else from the department?
No, we rest.
Okay. I do have a question. You said that the department and the parents were named joint managing conservators. I show that the department and mother were named joint managing conservators, but not father. Can someone?
Yes, I think I misspoke. I think I misspoke on that one because she had not had any contact with father in quite a while. We did ask that he become a possessory conservator.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what my notes indicated.
And Your Honor, I would agree with that assessment.
Okay. All right. Ms. Mullinex, did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor, rest.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ingham, recommendations?
Yes, sir. Continue the department as joint managing conservator with mom. Continue placement as is, although I will inform the court when Andy spoke with the placement that they said they had given notice on her. So I don't know if that still holds or not.
Okay, good to know.
Your Honor?
Yes. Yes. Somebody's trying to talk to me.
That was my client, but she muted again.
Okay.
Okay,
Harris?
sorry.
Something
Yes,
you wanted to say?
yes, sir.
Mhm.
On 4/20, Alexis ran away from the home again. She has a group of girls down there that are from Amarillo that she previously knew. And every time she's told no is when she runs. And when I talked to the home yesterday, they still put in to move her because they cannot handle her outbursts the way she is.
Okay, you broke up there. I just heard something about, I don't know where I lost you. Amy, where did we lose?
She said she still runs. And when I talked to the home yesterday, then she cut out a little bit and she said to move her because they cannot handle her.
So what'd they tell you when you talked to him yesterday, Ms. Parrish?
That they did turn in the 30-day notice to have her moved because she does encourage the other kids to run and she does run so much. She's ran 6 times since she's been in that placement.
Okay, thank you. Looks like the St. Francis will be looking for something a little more secure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. I will continue the department and Ms. Parrish as joint managing conservators of the child. I'll name Mr. Madrone temporary possessory conservator. I'll continue Alexis' current placement, knowing that we're going to have to find a new home for her within the next 30 days from whenever they put in the notice. I will order the services for each parent as contained in their service plan. I'll set the next hearing, the initial permanency hearing, for August 26th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. All right, Ms. Parrish, if you'd unmute again for just a minute, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Parrish, I need to admonish you that the services contained in your service plan became a court order today. At a final hearing, if you haven't worked those services, your parental rights could be altered or terminated. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martinez, if you'd unmute again, I have a couple of questions I forgot to ask you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe it would be contrary to the welfare of Alexis to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, Your Honor.
You believe it would be a threat to the physical safety and health of Alexis or someone else in the mother's home for Alexis to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, that will conclude this hearing.